trail of peace around the world, whispers in the wind unfurled, a rising sphinx.
So welcome, e te whānau, welcome to the Kopu Temple of the White Rose of Rongomarairoa. Right here, broadcast from the... I'm just going to bring in some Syrian plasma, just to bring in this guiding light. And supporting us on our journey. And the blue diamond drops. Beautiful. E te ātua o te ao marama, te whare wānanga o te ātua o te maraikora, te whare tapu o te taimana kahurangi. Tēnei mātou I ka ranga nei. Kia tau mai te aroha, te rangi marihe, me te maramatanga, whakatokia te kaha, te maia, te manawa nui. He kaha mō mātou I tēnei hui, kia tutuki I ngā moimoia, I roto I te aroha me te kotahitanga I ngā wairua katoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Whiti, 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 maranga mai, te wairua. Āmine.
Harmony. Many.
So whānau, we are gathering today for a very special occasion. We've just had this incredible eclipse energy, the solar eclipse, focused in the South Pacific in Rapa Nui in Hawaii Pāmamao. And as we've all been journeying with the Hawaii Pāmamao frequencies, there's a lot that's landing and it's still open. This portal's open. We are still receiving. There's a lot of things happening right now. And it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful unfolding. It's almost like we've come to really meet ourselves, and whatever intolerances are in our field are all showing up like boom, 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 boom. Almost all on the same day, you know. So I'm sure many of you will agree with that. I went down to Opotiki, down to Tōrere, which is about 20 kilometres out of Opotiki. And it's a little coastal town that my whānau come from. And yeah, we've got quite a lot of whenua there. And that's where I tune into Wairua very strongly. Whenever I feel a little bit disconnected, I go down there and I just straight away I connect in. The land receives me. It just wants to hold me and share ancient secrets. And this is what I found this time when I went down there. I found I was getting a lot of tohu from Moai, which is the what's it called? Whale Island. It's Whale Island, and Pakari, which is White Island. Now, White Island had a massive big blowout recently, and part of the side of it it changed shape completely. And so it's got a lot of smoke coming out of it. But Moai, Whale Island, I've never seen it smoke, but I saw it smoke like quite a few times. It must have smoked maybe 3 or 4 times while I was there, because every time I looked at it, it would have a puff of smoke coming out the top, and it was like, I'm pretty sure that's lit. Something's happening over there. So this was around the time of the solar eclipse, you know, and all that kind of activity that was happening. And yeah, I felt a lot of transmission happening from particularly Whakaari, and there was an opening that took place. I had my Auntie Mary, who I visited, and you know, Mary actually crossed over today on Venus Day, and I knew she was going to cross over today. I went and saw her on Tuesday, and I got told by Spirit I needed to open the Stargate for her to enter for Venus Day, for Kupu Day. So that happened, and then the alignment with Motohora, Whakaari, and Tōrere, because that's one huge, big Syrian stargate. And I really felt that energy open up when I was with Auntie Mary. And so, yeah, she's had a transition early hours this morning, which, I'm so grateful for her life. She was the most beautiful woman. And, just feeling like the line of Mary's realigned through the kopu, through the kopu frequency and the beauty way, and may she always walk the rose line in the heavenly realms, so this feels pretty auspicious. And so the other thing that happened for me was where my father crossed over 17 weeks ago, in the alignment of where he crossed over, I did a little ceremony there. I took down I've got this beautiful yoga mat that I just got, and it's from Yoga Tribe, and it's got like a big arrow, like a bow and arrow on it. So it's called the Warrior of Peace. And I pimped it out a little bit. I did a blue diamond on it and a few blue orbs on it as well. And as you do when you got these tongas. And when I first got it, the woman who sold it to me, she said, "This is your sacred place. This is a sacred site. Wherever you go, the Warrior of Peace will go with you. And whenever you roll it out, know that this is your altar. Your body is your temple." So it made perfect sense, right? And then I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to set up a sacred space here. So I did it, rolled it out, and I felt the white rainbow anchor. And of course, I had the Po with me virtually the whole time, this beautiful Po of justice. And quite interesting, because when I was walking down the beach with this Po, people could see me from miles away with it. And there was one dude who came up to me. He was like way down the other end of the beach, and then he drove up in his car and he goes, "I had to come all the way over to see what you were holding." It's shining from way far away. So this has actually got now a life of its own. It's got its own modi. It is the Justice Po that landed with our beautiful brother Justin, who crossed over. Well, actually, another Venus crossover. And so was the Māori King. The Māori King was a Venus transition, or Venus transit, really, isn't it? And he was 13 weeks after Papa Bear. And Auntie Mary is 17 weeks after Papa Bear crossed over. So there's a lot going on with Papa Bear's crossover. And we are in the time of the Great Exodus. So we're going to be seeing a lot of people crossing. But those that are crossing on a Venus day, there's something about this that makes it like a direct ascension through to the Syrian stargate. And so, yeah, there's something really special about it. The other thing that came my way this week, because I went down there to celebrate Papa Bear's birthday, and it was a beautiful unfolding. I felt like I needed to lead because I was going to be around toxic people. My siblings are all, they've got problems, major problems. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm the only kind of normal one in my family. Everyone else is kind of like lost the plot. And yeah, so I knew that I needed to stay really toe. So it was a challenge for me to be down there around people that were very toxic. But because I was in leadership, I made it my business to lead the way with the Rongomarairoa Po. I was carrying this everywhere I went. And I just kept talking wairua talk all the time. and they couldn't actually get in sideways because that's actually it's a really beautiful defense against the dark forces. When you go into those corridors. So yeah, that's what I felt was my greatest defense was being in the Wairua tapu. And there was a lot of tohu that came in, like the white stingray is actually our kaitiaki for our tribe, for Ngaitai. And so is the tip of the taiaha. But it's more like the, like it's about the tongue, the ability to speak, the ability to actually kōrero. And I guess there's an orator gift of storytelling through our lineage as well. I also, just today, I got guided because this hat came my way. I found it. This po took me on a hikoi last week. And when I went to this particular beach out at Orere Point, which is very similar to Torere, isn't it? Torere, Orere. I found a blue stone with flowers on it. I think I talked about it last week. And I also got gifted, there was a whole lot of hats, but there was only one hat with an eagle on it, and it was this one. But the eagle did have a basketball on it. So I painted it today. I painted it with a blue orb, and I put the white diamond in the middle because, that's also the rongomarairoa and the makura. And I gave the eagle white wings and a raukura. So it's got a feather of peace as well. And it's got the V for victory. It's got a victory mark on its whatu manawa. So there we go, on its third eye. So all these things have come in for supporting these prophecies. We are fulfilling the prophecy in real time. So we might as well dress the part, we might as well act the part, we might as well live the part and breathe the part. So, no more mucky fucky whānau. And yeah, this was me, sort of making it all real, bringing it into real time. And so the other thing that came through really strong, and Dr. Joe and I have been having a lot of really beautiful kōreros, and I watched an interview with her recently, and which I'll be interviewing her very soon as well. But I watched an interview with her, and she talked about the prophecy of the eagle of the Mohawk tribe. And that's the prophecy she's following, and it's connected to the eagle. And of course, the eagle is also, when I think about the eagle, I always think of the hokioi, which is our eagle here. And our eagle in Aotearoa is actually the biggest eagle on the planet. Yeah, it had wings over 3 meters long, wide, sorry. Yeah. And yeah, it could not be matched by any other size bird. It was one of the biggest, apart from, in the dinosaur times, those flying, can't remember what they call them, but not the pterodactyls, yeah. The pterodactyls. So it's, nearly as big as the pterodactyl. And so the prophecy of the eagle talks about, it has the 4 elements that it talks about. So the first one is forgiving the unforgivable. So, one of the things, the unforgivable, what is unforgivable? And the other one is the power of healing. So enabling us to be able to heal. Well, this is what this timeline is. We're all healers now. We can all really deeply heal ourselves and each other just by pure presence. The other thing with the prophecy is we are coming into this kotahitanga time, the time of unity, where we need to come together, and we recognize that. And, just thinking about what you said, Emma, about the spiritual community and how disillusioning that can be for people, because there is actually quite a lot of skullduggery in the spiritual community in general. There's a lot of people who are actually all teko, they really are not there, but they pontificate and they point fingers and they make people wrong, and they go on witch hunts, and as you all know, I've been witch hunted a few times. So yes, we all know what that ends up like. It ain't good. And lastly, the power of hope. So having hope and knowing, actually, this is the gnosis as well, knowing that we have got this. And, I love that you're so hopeful, Jane, for our future, and you're putting your livelihood into the hands of the divine, because that's what Yeshua did. Essentially that's what they all do. That's what we've all got to come to as well. We can't rely on the material world. It's fickle. It's temporary, and it keeps us in the mind. But when we can go into the heart, man, can we super manifest? That is where it's at. So now I feel like I need to come into, so that's me, kia ora. I need to come into like a place of transmission where I'm sharing this soul information that's come through the solar gate, through the solar eclipse doorway with the Rapa Nui frequencies. And yeah, that's really happening in the dream time for me as well. Yeah, I didn't realize quite all the meanings of everything, even going down to tōrere and having that connection with Whakaari, how it was all related. Because, Whakaari is a massive component of the Ring of Fire. And just behind tōrere, from Tōrere Bay, my ancestors actually talk about it quite a lot, is the te ringa wairua of basically the Ring of Fire. So we have the te ringa wairua or Whakaari, that is the Ring of Fire for the whole of the Pacific. That actually is one of the main vents that comes out. And so, that links directly through to Rapa Nui. And we had this big solar eclipse event happening right on Rapa Nui, which I'll just share a little bit about what happened. So from the transmission of light. So last week I had a story stone that I was sharing with you all. I'll just go grab it so I can show you again. So my story stone has a Rapa Nui head and a white diamond above it over here, and it has a pyramid, and it has a raki of all things, a duck. It has a duck, and it's also got a big taniwha all around here. Basically all around down through here is a big huge taniwha, but there's the Rapa Nui head right there. And when I received this, I thought this is connected to Rapa Nui. And I was sharing with you all last week. But this week, lo and behold, I had no idea that the event, that the solar eclipse, I hadn't really done that much research around it. But for then to discover that it was happening right in Rapa Nui just blew my head in. Because, I've been going on about Rapa Nui for months. You probably all noticed I've done tons of artwork that's all connected to Rapa Nui and Egypt and, you know, the link between the two. Well, obviously it was a big build-up to what we're actually seeing unfold right now. So what's happened now is that the story stone is now, so we're seeing the story stone now we're witnessing the living story stone as the living Moai. And so it's a megalithic story stone that tells many stories. And that's what the Moai are. I mean, I've watched a lot of videos about the Rapa Nui, the Moai, and all of the hypotheses and some of the theories around it. They wouldn't have a bloody clue. They don't think, you know, a lot of it is, none of it's wairua tapu. They don't realise that there's a huge piece missing with their kōrero. And if I was to say anything, then I'm not sure if that would be well received. I would probably get a lot of people try and, you know, disprove it somehow, because that's what it seems to be like out there, right? So this is a megalithic story stone of mammoth proportion. And it tells us that, it tells a whole story, but I'll tell you a bit more about the story soon. So during the recent solar eclipse of Rapa Nui, which was the center point of the Ring of Fire eclipse, peaking mid-heaven. So literally they would have had the most incredible view of it at the time of its peak. And yeah, it is actually also the pito of the planet. So I'm not sure that you're aware of, you know, the ancient Lemurian map and where it's situated, but it's actually in a lot of those ancient storybooks or the ancient teachings of Lemuria, they talk about Rapa Nui being the pito of the planet. And what happens out of a pito? Well, you get the rodu, you get the umbilical cord, you get, you know, babies are birthed out of there. So it's like a birthing portal, because there's a whole lot of stuff beneath Rapa Nui. It's also shaped like a stingray. So that's another little clue for me. And so we have the entrance of Middle Earth beneath the Moai, and which makes so much sense. This is what the ancients talk about on the island, that there is actually underground, there's a lot of underground caves, and there's a whole under tunnel system. And they can even, like, apparently the kings used to like to live in those caves, but they go very, very deep into the earth. And same with Egypt. They've got, you know, beneath the Sphinx, that's a huge tunnel system that goes to Middle Earth. So, you know, we're talking about Lemuria beneath. And there's also an inner earth corridor, honeycomb tunnel system between Rapa Nui and Egypt. So they link. There's an alignment there you're right, to all the way through to Giza Plateau. And interestingly enough, it's actually, I got shown that it's beneath the Sphinx. So that's why the Rapa Nui heads look quite similar to the Sphinx. You know, when you look at them on certain profiles, I'm sort of thinking it looks like the same creators that did that. And yeah, so this is what my Wairua Tapu team have shared with me. And beneath the Sphinx is the Hall of Records. So it has all of the records of every single lifetime we've ever had, of every single person that's ever existed, every single being that's ever been connected. And it's got the records of all timelines or dream lines or song lines, and it's constantly in creation. So it leads to these exquisite tunnels that run all the way through the whole planet, but there's a direct link between Rapa Nui and Egypt and Giza Plateau. Maui, the ancient navigator. Now, this happened to me in Dreamtime twice now. So Maui came to me once in Dreamtime. It was a few years ago now, and I'd written a post about it, but yeah, he has come to me as an ancient navigator, and there's a benevolent Maui. So there's lots of different Mauis, but we're talking about the benevolent Maui. And there's actually records of his navigation here to Aotearoa to meet the Patupaerehe Queen. And when he arrived with his four waka all the way from Egypt, which is actually in the Library of Alexandria, there's evidence of his journey here. He met with the Patupaerehe Queen, and they had kōrero, they communed. But Maui travelled all of the Pacific, not just Aotearoa. It didn't just come here, he went to Rapa Nui as well. And, you know, you sort of wonder how he came. Like, did he really travel on, you know, like, were his waka seaworthy or were they plasma worthy? Did they actually come in a Vimana type of craft? You know, there's multiple different sorts of waka that we're talking about. Or did he come from the inner earth and come up that way? So that was the other way that potentially he could have travelled. Maybe he went to Rapa Nui first, then he came to Aotearoa. So, you know, there's lots of different theories around that. It doesn't really matter how that happened. But Maui went to Rapa Nui and he seeded the people there with high consciousness, the highest consciousness of Horus. So all those beings, all those Moai, they all represent the Ra-Ngati-Ra, the Ra-Ngati-Ra, the divine child, the illumined ones, the ones that have achieved their chieftainness, their chieftainhood. And so they all have the Horus, which is the Heru frequencies from the Sphinx. You know, they're quite Sphinx-like beings. And they've got the codes that have all been embedded in there, which is actually captured into the story stone of what the Moai is, all of those frequencies. And they all of the Moai emit this piezoelectric currency that drains batteries when you get up close. So you can't take your phone up near one. Otherwise, it'll just be stripped of all of its juice. And so all of Maui's people, all the ones that were on Rapa Nui were all seeded with this Heru consciousness, this beautiful divine innocence of curiosity and wonder, and they lived from the heart, so they could super manifest. They didn't go into their heads and worry about tomorrow and what other people think, and you know, whether they were liked or not, or how they were going to cope, whether they were going to get their next meal from, all of that. And so where are we? So those people all received these incredible frequencies of, they knew all about the tohu, how to read tohu, how to work with the Wairua currencies. And there was also a link with Whakaari, so the ring of fire was all aligned. Okay, Amanda, all good, sister. Kia ora. There was over 1,000 Moai on the island, but then there was a lot of trees on that island at one point, and they were all cut down to create waka. Now, the first waka that left there was the kura waka. And as Waitaha, it's talked about in the songs and the, and all the histories of Waitaha in those books. And they travelled to Aotearoa over 4,000 years ago. And Spirit said it was 4,444 years ago. Because we're in the 2024, we're in the year of the dragon, and we've got this 444 alignment. It just made perfect sense for that to be on, for these evolution codes to come through for us at this time. And so, and others ventured to other parts of the Pacific. There were other wakas that were built, and to Hawaii, Tahiti, Rarotonga. Now, all of the codes were gifted in the DNA. So these Heru codes, the ones from Egypt, which are in the lineage, when you think about what Egyptians are, they were black people, they were dark-skinned peoples. So, the Māori are dark-skinned peoples too. And so it was like they were all from a certain lineage. And so it's all carried in the DNA, and the DNA is the carrier of the Ba spirit, and especially through the DHEA codes of the DNA, the genetic codes. They talked about the us carrying the salt of our ancestors. And the salt is an eternal, in Vita Austin's teaching, she talks about salt being an eternal substance. It can never be destroyed. It is crystal. It's a crystalline substance. Even when we turn to bone and then eventually back to salt, we do it faster if we get cremated, but if we allow our bodies to just deteriorate, then we'll just go back to salt. And it's like everything is contained in the salt, all the codes of our ancestors, the memory, which is carved in the stone as a record keeper. And it's also a record of our spiritual ascension and the timeline that we're in, the focus around the ring of fire that's being brought to light right now, and the sun codes that we are aligning to right now. I mean, when we think about the work we're doing with the Hawaii Tapu Po and the Hawaii Tapu map, we are aligning all of our suns, our 7 suns in our body temple, but then there's 144,000 suns beyond our body temple. And this is us recapitulating, coordinating, realigning those suns, bridging that alignment of the inner suns. It's also the grand rising of the divine masculine spirit. So, the divine feminine, she's risen. She's already kind of like present. She's able to receive. So this is the curiosity as well. She's a receptacle for knowledge, and she's here to hold it. She's the chalice, and he's the Po. He's like in action right now, and this is happening within us all. We have to be in action. Whoa, did you just see that? There was something that went straight across there. Whoa. Confirmation, we're looking at tohu outside of ourselves as well, confirming outside of ourselves. And so, yeah, we have to come into action. And this is us showing up. That's a form of action, just showing up, just being present, and not just fobbing off. And also the embodiment of our make, God frequencies as creator gods. So Makemake is the God, the creator God of Rapa Nui. And Rapa Nui is the father of humanity. And I mean, of course, we know we've evolved beyond that. We realize that, you know, the universe is very feminine, and it's just a lens to work through. It's an archetype and it's an allegory for us at this time, I feel. And it's the father of humanity, the God of fertility, the God of community, of unity, and agriculture, growth and well-being, and the master of sustaining life. So what a perfect time, Jane. I'm looking at you thinking, yeah, you're working with that sustenance, you know, with the land. Also, it is a dwarf planet of a higher consciousness. It's connected to Uranus. It's the higher octave of Uranus. Now, Aotearoa is ruled by Uranus. And we are, you know, like kaitiaki. That's our kaitiaki, is like the Uranus frequency. There used to be a ritual every single year in Rapa Nui. I think it still happens now. There's some kind of plaything that they do. It's connected to the Birdman culture. Isn't that interesting that it's the Birdman culture? Like the thunder, yeah, I'm thinking the Thunderbird man culture. And they used to do this yearly run that you'd have to go all the way up these hills, and, you know, once you arrived at the top, the first person to arrive at the very top was chief of the island for the entire year. But what happened was that they wouldn't be able to feed themselves. They had to be fed. They would only get fed once a day. So, you know, they were pretty much starved. They couldn't do anything. They had to just be, you know, like a conduit for Wairua. And they couldn't cut their nails or their hair, so their nails grew really, really long, and they became quite emancipated. And they would look, by the end of the year, they would look like the god Makemake, who was quite an emancipated look with super long nails and long hair and scruffy ears. And yeah, no one could touch the personification of the god either. So yeah, it was an interesting practice, but there's a clue there, you know, it's actually connected to the Birdman culture. And Makemake, oh yeah, Makemake came to me in Dreamtime last night, and I was summoned into these caves, and it was like we were on a planet. I'm pretty sure it was a planet, it wasn't a starship, it was a planet we were on. And I'm wondering whether it was Makemake, the planet, the dwarf planet that we were on. You know, a lot of these planets that are spheres are hollowed out, and there's actually, you know, that there's architecture and advanced technology inside of them. And I was swimming amongst these groups of people. I didn't recognize anyone, but then I spied a shaman, and I knew he was special. He was all tattooed up, all coated and loaded, and he looked at me, and he came over to me, and we started to do ritual together, and he guided me through this tunnel system. And then he took me to where the creator god Makemake was. And Makemake was on this table, and it looked like Tahitian tattoos all over him. And they were like luminous with codes that I needed to touch, and I needed to do some work with him to activate. And I was asked to work on his body portals in order to activate it. So that's what I did. And it was like a whole ritual, and there was a whole community all lined up watching and like viewing it, and they were witnessing it. They were like the living Moai. like, just literally not physically looking like Moai, but I saw them as the living Moai. And then he gifted me his white serpent seed, his Ra-Ngati-Ra. And when I woke this morning, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the white trail that he's gifting. So, and just last week we were connecting with the white serpent, and we did a whole piece about the white serpent, about the Rongomarairoa, about the Makura, which is the white rainbow. It's, everything's kind of like in its purification stage now. It's all coming back into neutrality, into center. We're still doing the purification. It's like the big purge. Everything's being witnessed. As the living Moai, we need to be witnessing this, witnessing it all, not getting too attached to the outcome of whatever is showing up for us. And also realizing that there is only one of us here, which is actually one of the hardest things to continue to understand. Because we've been programmed to blame and shame, right? Oh, it's their fault. Oh, they're doing this to me. And really we're doing it to ourselves. Yeah, so that was massive, having that. Oh, that's just blown your mind. Well, yeah, this is it. A lot of the stuff that we're sharing is pretty high level. It's not for 101s, and I know that I lose people on this tracking, but it's also important that we are speaking from deeper intelligence or gnosis, like we actually all know. And when we hear truth, we feel it in our bones. It woodies in us. Now, the other thing about Easter Island, it's the only place on the planet that you can find rapamycin, which is a mineral in the soil. I mean, it got devastated in the 1700s when it was first discovered. Well, not discovered, it was already there, but, you get white people turning up and thinking, oh, let's go raid and rape this whole beautiful landscape. And that's pretty much what happened. And they brought disease there, and it killed off most of the population. And I think there was only 111 people left on that island in, the turn of the century. So a lot of people got wiped out. They actually also enslaved a lot of the people. They ended up getting enslaved by the Chileans, so it's quite a sad story. But, these living Moai, the stone Moai are testimony to the deep spiritual mahi that was done by the people, that was understood by the people. Now, the rapamycin that's in the soil is a potent antifungal treatment. It's also an immunity modulator, and it functions as a fountain of youth. So it helps with longevity. It helps people look younger. It helps with the rebuilding of collagen in the body. And it helps people, basically be a better version of themselves. It's a regenerative process product. Now, the moai are made out of 4 different stone on the island, and most of them were buried very deep. There's, the thing is, the scientists, they don't really know how old those statues have been there. They've been there for a really long time, because, we've also had a mud flood, which isn't spoken about. And on the back of the moai, there are these intricate carvings. And I mean, I would have loved to have put some photos up, and I'll see if I can put a little bit of a slideshow together for us, because I think this is really potent information that's being shared right now. I might have to do a YouTube video around it. And On the back of one of the carvings, there is an identical match of Pillar 47 at Göbekli Tepe. And Göbekli Tepe goes back a very, very long time. You know, we're talking 26,000 years. There's purposefully buried them. And I'm wondering whether the Moai were purposefully buried as well. But yeah, they represent many different things. But, the main feature of the Moai in part of the history or her story is they are Ra-Ngati-Ra. They represent Ra-Ngati-Ra. There's over 1,000 Moai there, and only 13 Moai were made out of basalt, which is a white stone, which is super interesting because when I first discovered that, I kind of was thinking, wonder why 13, and I wonder why basalt. And I was thinking about the word basalt, and I was breaking it up I broke the word down. So Ba is the spirit, is the earth body spirit. And yeah, it's our bird spirit actually. And I'm thinking about the bird spirit for the earth would probably have to be Hokioi, because it is actually one of the biggest eagles on this planet. And especially the white eagle, it's the thunderbird spirit. And it's also allowing us to access our own thunderbird spirit, which is about freedom, unity, peace, love, higher love. Yeah, it's about coming together. And then the salt is, of course, the eternal substance that's crystalline in nature, and you can never destroy it. So, those 13 were made out of the basalt. I feel that also the 13 is very representative of the feminine spirit and her part she is playing now as the Holy Spirit rises within us, as the holy fire rises within us. And also that eternal crystalline substance is like a quantum computer, and it holds the memory of water. So, when you do Vita Austin's training, she talks about that. She talks about just plain pure water. It doesn't actually have the memory until you add the salt. And then the salt is what captures the memory of that water. Just the water itself is a transmitter and a conductor. But with the other, it's also a broadcaster. The salt makes it being able to be broadcast as well. Yeah, so that's kind of the experience the transmission that I'm here to share with you all. I see it all connected to the white rainbow, of course. This is the Makura, the time before time. So we're here to trip the switch on just the standard dream time. We're here to shift it up. And, like I said before, the first port of call of our journey is going to be to Australia, the land of the dream time, Te Whenua o Te Moemoeā, where we will be paving the new Makura, the new rainbow dreamline. And the white hokioi, the spirit of the earth rising within us, rising within the spirit of the earth, rising within the ring of fire. I mean, it's just open. This portal has just opened, so it's going to have more codes landing soon. But it's interesting how, we've been working towards this for a while now. It feels like it's building into something really big. So whānau, what is the time? 8:30. Oh, yeah, we better get on to our astral journey. I know we started a little bit late. We might have to go a little bit late. I hope that's not going to be too much of a problem for anybody. In the meantime, I'm feeling that, does anyone need to go for a bathroom break? We've been going for an hour and a half. Does that feel like a good time to do that now? Give a 5-minute bathroom break? Okay, awesome. Yeah, a comfort break. Excellent. See you back very shortly. Yeah, hydrate. That's a good idea. Right. I'm not sure if everyone's back yet. Maureen. Yeah, she looks like she's still away. Oh, there you go. Okay, Bano. Right, getting yourselves into a nice, comfortable position, one that you can be in for a little while you experience this transmission from the Moai alignment. Closing your eyes and taking some deep conscious breaths. Haki roto. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Haki waho. Letting go. Releasing. Unbinding, unwinding. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again. And one last time. Visualize a blue diamond plasma pillar direct from the Syrian Mother Sun, entering your stellar crown and filling you up with sacred cosmic liquid, crystalline diamond plasma. As this powerful currency penetrates every element of your light body temple, it extends all the way down through to your roots and deep down into the magnetic core of Papatuanuku, into her diamond heart. Feel these beautiful waters blend beautifully as the waters of Mama's diamond heart and the plasma from the Syrian sun merge and melt into one another. One from above and one from below, to activate your Wairua, your two rivers, and the river beneath the river. Witness a beautiful blue beam of diamond light surrounding you. Opening your blue diamond stargate, situated in your higher heart and throat region. Feel it widen with each breath as you continue to breathe deeply with your wairua. And as you breathe, see the shimmering diamond iridescent blue light refracting and sparkling, shining bright. Each fractal of light representing another aspect of you, of your multi-dimensional potency. All 144,000 shards of sun ray birthing from all over your body. Feel all the stars and the planets beaming inside of you. Venus, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Makemake, Haumea, Wawa, Sedna, recognizing the entire cosmos itself within you, all of the solar systems and all of the universes, galaxies, all the billions of worlds within worlds. Feel the power of this gnosis, of this knowing of your infinity Po rising within you. Know that you have always been and forever will always be. As you astral project yourself into Giza Plateau and enter the chamber beneath the Sphinx. See the wide staircase leading all the way down to infinity, to the honeycomb earth, to Rapa Nui. As you embody your divine child, the Heru Ua, the Horus, aligning to your true superpower, to be in the innocence of the child, to be in your curiosity and in your great imaginarium. Here you see all of the Akasha revealed to you as it downloads into your soul. You have been everyone and everything, fully connected. As you remember who you really are. Witness yourself all the way back during the first exodus where Maui brought you through to the pito of the planet for safekeeping, along with you, the ancient technology of the blue diamond and the ancient truth of the white diamond, the time before time, and for you to always walk the peace trails of Ra-Ngati-Ra. Feel the power of your birth into the existence, into this manifestation with these ancient codes stored in your DNA, now being remembered. Feel the power of presence in your Moai form as you turn to stone and stand as a witness in your crystalline bones as a Ra-Ngati-Ra, and feel the sacred potency of unity and oneness amongst all of creation. Then feel another part of yourself being received and revealed through the sun codes as the solar eclipse opens the doorway above your crown, activating your own inner ring of fire through your solar gate, where the God of creation, Make greets you, gifting you his Ra-Ngati-Ra, the white serpent codes, as the God of fertility, growth, well-being, and sustainer of life, guiding you to prepare the white trail of Ra-Ngati-Ra and paving the way with white roses at your feet. Shh. Soon the trails of peace illuminate the skies with white rainbows birthing from the pito of the earth, pito of Papatuanuku. The white hokioi flies on high with its thunderbird call. Yoo, yoo, yoo. The white fly, the stingray, flaps its oceanic butterfly wings and shares its prophecy of illumined time of awakening, infusing the new celestial currents, streams, and rivers with ancient memories of their cosmic origins, aligning all of the ancient star bridges, all the peace trails across the entire galaxy. Paving the new cosmic arcs of the Makura, spanning across all dimensions and realities. Shh, shh, shh. 144,000 particles of light returned to the one, as the one, as the monad, all receiving their coordinates, their cosmic coordinates, restoring the ancient order and reinforcing the new trajectory for the new dream time. Crystal diamond grid. Recalibrating it all to the kinetic light technology of the blue diamond. And singing in the new song line of paradise. Papatuanoku. And inviting us all to now come into the sacred B frequencies of the Merlin's chamber. And may we connect to every other Merlin's chamber on this planet and every other planet in the cosmos to bring in these new frequencies and currencies of unity, peace, truth, higher cosmic love, and freedom, with our final destination to return to the one. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Mm. It is so. Aho. And when you're ready, wriggling your fingers and toes, and slowly, gently opening your eyes.
The trail of peace around the world, whispers in the wind unfurled, a rising sphinx.